Hello everybody, I do apologize for the long hiatus as we are back talking about season recaps, today talking about the 2023 Hamilton Tiger Cats. So before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or the CFL, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get into it. So 2022 saw the Hamilton Tiger Cats go 8-10 after previously making the Grey Cup in 2021. So they end up making some big moves and heading into the season. Expectations are really high as they're looking to get back to the Grey Cup, and they make some big changes, especially at quarterback. Dane Evans was an individual that played a part of the success that this team had in the very late 2010s, and they'd also continue to be quarterback that was going to be a starter, at least continuing to start. But in 2022, he had 23 turnovers from what I recall in 16 games, just a lot of timely or untimely turnovers, as he had a fumble I remember against Titus Waller. It was a forced fumble. The Stamps won that game in 2022. I don't know why that sticks in my head so well. But yeah, they make some changes, especially at the QB position, and they end up getting and trading to acquire the rights of Bo Levi Mitchell. Signed him to a deal. Bo is somebody that, of course, has won multiple Grey Cups, has been an MOP contender, and has made a name for himself. So they bring in Bo, and they're thinking with this, as Mazzoli, of course, is gone too, we have a veteran quarterback that has won championships and could very well be the guy that gets us over the hump, winning us that first title since 1999. And it's not just him either. They bring in other guys like James Butler, Jameer Thurman, etc. As they bring in some, big names on the offensive side. They bring in some pieces on the defensive side, and they say to themselves, we want to be not only a contender for a playoff spot, but be a title contender. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of bought into that a lot going into the season. I feel like I've overhyped Hamilton every year that we've covered the CFL, or I've covered the CFL. So going into 2023, I was like, yeah, this probably should be a playoff team. Now, unfortunately for them, early on, things would be problematic as they would lose a tough game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I think Bo Levi Mitchell ended up getting hurt in that game, and they would fall to 0-3. Along that way, too, you have Matthew Schultz, a guy that we've talked about before on this channel that I really do like as a quarterback, but I don't really know if he should be your team starter. He gets hurt. So then they have rookie quarterback, 24-year-old, I believe, Taylor Powell, come on in. And things are kind of mixed there, as Powell can win some games, but at the same time, too, you have some games where he throws for like 220 yards, 210 yards. You'll have the average depth of target be shorter as you get some hitches and things like that they might run, and just a deal where you know that if you win these games it's going to be tough. But for this team, it was a situation that you never want to be down to a rookie third string quarterback, but that's just kind of how it went for him. And unfortunately, the QB carousel, as well as some other things, ended up hindering this team. I said going into the year that while I did feel like this should be a good team, one weird thing that I feel like was contradictory was me saying that either Mark Washington or Tommy Condell or Orlando Steinauer would be gone by the end of the year. I had said maybe even all three of them. We would see something here where you would have Steinauer, he would move into a different role by the end of the season, but Tommy Condell does take a different role. Actually, he steps down from his role with him as the offensive coordinator. He had been there for a while, and the team just wasn't able to get the results they were hoping for. So you have a situation where Scott Milanovic comes on in, and he takes over the play calling duties. There are some lows. I believe the first week that he took over, they lost 24-10 Edmonton. And if not, that would most certainly explain why Condell ended up taking a step down from the role. But Milanovic, I believe, was the coordinator then, and things are kind of weird, but they do finish the year 5-5. They have 7 games where they scored 27 points or more on that occasion. However, as you can imagine, if you're going 5-5 and you're still scoring 27 plus points, kind of an issue where they allowed some things defensively, and I believe turnovers in one of those games was really costly for them. I can't remember if it was against Toronto or another team. But yeah, there's that. So the offense may be better, but they're still a average team at best. But the good news is they are able to make the playoffs, where they have a rematch with the Montreal Alouettes. The problem is, though, that they would go on to lose to the Alouettes. As we all know, Montreal would win the Grey Cup, and it was another year of heartbreak for the Hamilton team, as they again have the longest CFL drought for Grey Cup wins, or their last Grey Cup win going back to 1999. And I feel like this season, finishing 8-10, while it was promising to finish 5-5 to close out the year, they were a paper tiger. Offensively, things weren't up to snuff. Defensively, there was a lot of issues as well. Special teams, I think, was a lot better than I thought it could be. Mark Leggio was their kicker, and early on through probably like half of the season, if not more, Leggio looked pretty good. I think Tunde Deleke ended up having some good returns and had a good return average. But with them being where they got into that early hole where they were 0-3, having a team like Toronto claim the top spot in the division, and then having a side like Montreal go out there and have, maybe some bad spells, but pair that with a lot of good runs that they had, and where the defense really locked in and things like that, it did force Hamilton to kind of fight and claw to be able to make the playoffs. And while they were relatively safe, you just knew that they were going to have to play on the road in Montreal, play on the road in Toronto. Not anything easy from what you're wanting, and with other guys playing banged up and just having a lot of problems with the coaching staff and how things worked for them. 2023 is a season I think Hamilton fans would really like to bury. It didn't end in a Grey Cup, and that is a problem. But I think what we are looking at here for 2024 is going to be a team that certainly looks different, and I think some people are saying could possibly even look worse. But I'm very excited to see what happens here, as Scott is now the head coach, Orlando taking over a different role, and the Tiger Cats looking to end a long Grey Cup drought, and hope that maybe this year goes better than 8-10. My advice to them early on: protect those quarterbacks and do not start out 0-3. But anyway, yeah, that is my recap of the season for Hamilton. Going to be getting out Montreal hopefully tomorrow. And again, I know that these probably could be better next season, especially when I try to get them out much faster after the season ends, so I'm not going so much off of memory. It could be problematic. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the season for the 2023 Hamilton Tiger Cats? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe and have a great night.